Morning folks, what we're going to look at today is what's known as plan extensions or plan extensions. So we're all familiar with your standard good old 700 type phone, which most properties would have the one phone. What I will say about I'll say that in a minute. So you know how to operate a normal phone. Now in some cases somebody might want an extension phone in a bedroom, maybe if they were on call out or for some other reason, if they had somebody who was ill or infirm, needed a phone near the bed to make calls. So to that end we've got this as the extension phone to the main phone. In normal circumstances, this phone I'm actually using as a dual purpose phone before any of the purists start. In normal circumstances it would be a phone with a single button on top. This I'm using for reasons that will become apparent as a dual purpose phone. So your extension phone would most often than not have an on-off switch fitted to allow the bell to be switched on or off at will, which we shall show you shortly. There were a couple of other plans. This is known as a plan 1A. There were a couple of other plans which are known as plan 1B, where none of the extension phones contained a bell, so they all had to be all the phones would have to be within earshot of the main phone. That would probably be in an open plan office environment, or plan 1C, where none of the extension phones had a bell on off switch fitted, which meant there would all be these with the dummy button on top, and the bells would always ring whether you wanted them to or not. So if we set an incoming call up, you can switch the bell on or off. There you go, one bell ringing there and two bells ringing. Right, so another plan that was used was plan 1, which this is your plan 1 extension. This does not use the internal bell. In the original setup it had an external bell which was a single bell, not a dual coil bell as is fitted in the phones. In this case there is a buzzer fitted internally to this phone, and I do believe that was an option later on, as I have actually witnessed something which I suspect was a plan 1 in use somewhere I visited many years ago. So with the plan 1, once again we'll set an incoming call up. We'll answer the call on the extension, and the extension can alert the plan 1 by pressing a button, and that will sound the buzzer. With the buzzer fitted, it does actually give a horrible howling noise in the earpiece, and when I did see it in action, the person receiving the call did advise the caller to move the earpiece at their end away from the rear when they called the extension, and then of course the plan 1 could take the call. Now for any extension phone, the GPO would charge extra for an extension phone. Now in a lot of cases some people didn't want to pay that or didn't like to pay that, so they would somehow manage to obtain, I'm just going to move some of these out of the way, they would somehow manage to obtain a phone from somewhere, which it felt a bit when I did the original video, so I'll be a bit careful with it because it's got no screws in the top, from elsewhere, and wherever they obtained it from, and they would fit it themselves using only 2 wires, often with doorbell wire, right? But what would happen in that case, I'm going to bring that into circuit, would be that when the extension phone was in use, and I think if I do that and that, you would get bell tinkle on all the other phones during dial out, and that would indicate that the extension had been fitted illegally. Now I think it works this way around as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but in this case it just tinkles the extension, whereas when I'm using the extension phone it tinkles all the other phones. Now what I believe is, and I don't know how true this is if a technician, engineer, whatever you want to call them, came from the GPO and found out that there was an illegal phone fitted, it would be disconnected. But I have heard that, say for argument's sake, the cable that was fitted from the main block terminal, it would be cut at some distance from the block terminal to prevent reconnection of the extension phone. Say for example the extension cable ran upstairs, they'd maybe cut a metre of it out after disconnecting it from the main phone block terminal to prevent further illegal practices. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video. You can't comment on YouTube because I've got the comments turned off. If you're watching it on the Telecoms Heritage group, feel free to comment, but please remember that I'm not from a telecoms background. I am working with equipment that I have available, hence the use of this 740 rather than a standard 746. And that's pretty much all I can say. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, fine. If you didn't, nobody's forcing you to watch any more of them.